Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I'm Ayushi, and on this video I'm going to discuss with you a very important and oftentimes one of the most difficult decisions that we make in our life, which is about deciding our career. I'm going to give you a step-by-step framework on how you can think about deciding your career, and most importantly, I'm going to give you practical ways in which you can decide your career. I'm also going to discuss my story about how I ended up in economics, finance and public policy, but that would be towards the end of the video because I have a surprise twist for you there. So let's begin. Now, usually deciding your career would be based on 4 steps. You can see the diagram here. Let's break down this diagram for you. The first step is deciding what is your aim in life, and especially what do you want to achieve from your career. Now, this is a highly subjective decision. It really depends on individual's choice, his value system, the family responsibilities, circumstances that he grew up in. So there is no one sure-shot solution to this. It really depends on what exactly the individual wants from his or her life. It may be money. A lot of people may want to earn a lot of money in their career. For some, stability and having a work-life balance may be of paramount importance. For others, it could be fulfillment in terms of serving the society. But you have to prioritize on what do you want from your career 5 to 10 years down the line. That is where your next steps would come in. The second step is to identify what are the things that you're good at. For example, in my case, I was always good at math. I was always good with data. I love data. I love data analysis. I loved crunching numbers. I could see a pattern in data, and that is what I wanted to do. Everybody is usually good at one thing or the other, but you have to decide with the key element. The deciding factor is what helps you stand apart from your peers. It could be data, it could be communication, it could be motivating others, it could be research, it could be anything. But you have to really introspect and jot down the skills that you're actually good at and which help you stand apart from the rest of the crowd. The third step is to identify what makes you happy. Now again, this is a very subjective thing, and what you're good at may not necessarily make you happy. These are two distinct things. For example, I have a very close friend who was extremely good at art, who was also extremely good at biology, and she was determined to get into a good medical college. She studied for her medical examinations throughout class 11th and 12th, but decided to take up fashion designing at the end. Now is running a very successful venture of her own in fashion designing field and is very happy doing that. So while she was very good at biology, but that did not make her happy, and that is why she chose an alternative field, which was fashion designing for her. Similarly, in my case, while I love data, I love numbers, I love data crunching, but I did not want to crunch numbers all the time. I wanted to understand the story behind numbers, and that is why I chose and pursued economics as my career option. So the third step is to identify what you're happy doing. The fourth step is to identify what you can be paid for. Now this step is relatively easy because usually the market determines the remuneration that you will be getting in that particular career. The more the demand for a particular career and the less the number of candidates, the higher the remuneration you can command. So you can just go on Google, you can find out what kind of pay does individual careers offer, and you can make that decision accordingly. Now, the ideal career for you would be the intersection of all these things. This is the sweet spot. This is where the ideal career for you is. I hope all this makes logical sense. Theoretically, it sounds super. It should be so easy to decide your career, right? But I understand that for a 17, 18-year-old, it is not so easy to decide a career. If it were that simple, everybody would be happy in their careers, right? This usually happens because we lack the experience, we lack the vision when we are so young. We are not able to understand what does a career look like, what does a career entail, what is the pay like. We do not have all this information in our hands. So this is where the 3 practical tips that I'm going to share with you comes in extremely handy. And this will make your life so easy in terms of deciding your career. The first tip is to learn about a career in a practical manner. What this means is work as an apprentice, do internships with different companies, and that is where you will learn about different domains. You will learn about what each career entails. For example, during my undergraduate study, while I was doing economics honors at Shriram College of Commerce, I did numerous internships. I interned with a publishing house, I interned with a bank, I interned with the erstwhile Planning Commission of India. And that is where I learned about different fields, which was publishing, which was finance sector, which was also public policy sector. And this is where I decided that I want to build a career in public policy and finance. To understand more about a career, to really get insights into what a career entails, what are the kind of people working there, you really need to get some practical learning experiences. And internships and apprenticeships are the best way to do that. The second practical tip is networking. Network with a lot of people. Internet has opened so many possibilities. There was no LinkedIn at the time I was graduating from school, but LinkedIn has opened so many options. You can actually look up people who are working in a specific career. You can speak with them, you can interact with them, you can learn about the work they're doing. And this will give you so many good insights. The third, final, but the most important practical tip is to keep learning and keep upskilling yourself. Careers are very, very dynamic in today's world. Careers keep on changing. Today, after 7 years in the field of public policy and finance, I'm still contemplating on what I want to do next. There's so many emerging trends, cryptocurrencies, decentralized finance, blockchain technologies which are emerging, which I am still learning about. Careers are changing at a very, very rapid pace. It is important that you keep learning, you keep upskilling yourself so that you can keep up with the pace and keep on changing your careers also. Stay calm, stay cool, leave out the mentality of not learning, start upskilling yourselves. Coming to the part where I disclose how I decided my career, it's actually a funny story and quite in contrast to what was discussed earlier. I did not follow a framework to decide my career. After I had just appeared for my class 10 board examinations and I had just entered class 11th, one of my father's friend, he came home and we were discussing about careers. He told me he was an engineering graduate and he told me that economics is a very, very emerging field and there are so many people taking up economics. So I decided to pursue it and take it up in my class 11th. Now, since I already loved science, I ended up taking science with economics in my class 11th. And this also meant that I could keep my options open. Over the next 2 years, I studied all the science subjects as well as economics, physics, chemistry, math, economics. And finally, when I scored well in my class 12th examinations, I got admission into SRCC, which is one of the leading institutes for economics in India, and ended up there. No framework whatsoever. However, retrospectively, now I think about it, I should have been more rational and more scientific in my approach. So if I could advise my 15-year-old self on how I would choose my career, I would actually talk about all the points that I discussed on this video, which is to identify your aim in life, what you're good at, what makes you happy, and finally, what can you be paid for. I would also try and test the subject. For example, I would talk to people, I would gain practical experiences even in school to understand more about the field that I was entering into. I hope these gave you some really good practical insights in how you should be thinking about deciding your career. In case you have any questions, please feel free to comment them in the comment box down below. I will be happy to answer those and I will see you the next time.